There we are. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight for our next class in our educational series. This one is on presenting yourself. Now, this one we do not have a guest speaker for, primarily because this is probably one of my favorite subjects to talk about. This is something that's very important to me and something that I feel is should be very important to all of you as well. So this is going to be on presenting yourself and helping you with your presentation skills. So, out of curiosity, just a quick question for all of you. Why are presentation skills important?
You have to present for like a lot of workplaces overall.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely 100% true. No matter what you want to do for the rest of your life, I mean, you all are in high school. You already are doing a lot of presentations. I talked to someone earlier. They said they had three presentations 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. This is something that's already a big part of your life, but something that you may not realize because this is something that's very uncomfortable for a lot of people your age. Yes, Grace, to pitch an idea and articulate what you're trying to say. That's why it is important. But this is a skill that's very, very important because no matter what you want to do with the rest of your life, beyond high school, whether you're going to college, whether you're going straight to your professional career, you're going to have to do hundreds, if not thousands, of presentations. So this is something that you really should get comfortable with because you're going to have to do it a lot. So I want to make sure that we give you the opportunity to become comfortable with it so you can prepare yourself for your future. But exactly like what Grace said in our messages, presentation skills are absolutely crucial for enhancing your ability to communicate both effectively and persuasively. They also help in delivering your message clearly and also helps you boost your confidence and engage with your audience. So mastering your presentation skills can lead to both career advancements, both also improving your professional relationships and increasing your influence. It also is great for stronger engagement, helping, actually, I just said career advancement, but one that's, again, very, very important is increasing your confidence. So one of the reasons why this subject is very important for me, I mean, to be completely honest, when I was your age, my number one fear was public speaking. Actually, I looked it up today. It still is in the top 10 fears for teenagers is public speaking. It's actually ahead of relationships and ahead of bullying, which is crazy to me. So this is a major, major fear for a lot of people your age. When I was your age, it was my number one fear. You physically could not get me to do a presentation. I went to a very progressive school in the middle of nowhere in New Hampshire, and they always gave us a secondary option if you really did not want to do a presentation. It was always something that was absolutely insane, though, because they really wanted you to do it. So my senior year, they gave us the option of doing either a 5 minute presentation or a 50-page research paper. I took the paper. Couldn't get me to do the presentation. Yeah, number one fear, could not get me to do it. Now it's my job. My job is I do at least 5 or 6 presentations a week. I've done thousands of presentations. In college, I was doing presentations in front of thousands of people. It was part of what I was doing in school. So this is something that I wish that when I was your age, I was way more comfortable with because it would have made my life so much easier. It would have advanced myself a lot farther. So that's why these presentation skills are so extremely important. Um, so another quick question for you all. What gives you anxiety about presentations?
Definitely the part where you're like standing in front of a lot of people.
Yeah, so why does that give you anxiety, standing in front of people?
I think the feeling of having eyes on me is like really pressuring.
Yeah. Crosby and says judgment, so around the same lines. Anyone else have any reasons why they get anxious or they have a fear of public speaking?
I just feel like it's also like more like opinions. So like you think what people are thinking about, like what you're saying. I feel like you're always just like thinking of how to say it in the right way. It's just like it makes you so much more aware of what you're saying.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then Grace also said the fear of messing up. Yeah, these are very, very common fears when it comes to public speaking. In fact, next slide, these are the top fears when it comes to public speaking, starting with Crosby, what you said, being judged, being self-conscious about how you present, the fear of what others are thinking of us. Perfectionism. This is one that I always have issues with. I always have that fear that anything that I present, maybe I should have worked a little bit harder on. So that fear that nothing is ever good enough. Perceived vulnerability. What I think it was, who said? Sophia said that. Feeling exposed when you're up in front of a lot of people. Past experiences, maybe some of you have had that bad experience in the past that you just kind of relive in your mind. Perfect story time, actually. For me, my past experience that kind of haunted me for a little bit, it really didn't haunt me. It was just a horrifying experience, was my first ever professional presentation. Fresh out of college, I was working at the Naval Academy, and my very first presentation I had to give was to the Commandant of the Naval Academy, literally the person in charge of the Naval Academy. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to do it properly. So that presentation was horrid. It still haunts me to this day where it's very embarrassing. Thankfully, the commandant was a classmate of my father, so he was way nicer than he should have been. But to say I completely bombed that presentation is an understatement. Um, but in a minute, we'll kind of teach you how to get a little bit past that. Lack of experience is another one. Grace, you kind of mentioned that with fear of messing up. Crosby, you mentioned that as well, where you're kind of thinking over everything you're trying to say. That's just you feeling like you're not a pro when it comes to presentations. Performance pressure. This is definitely something teenagers do a lot. You always, or not always, you tend to overanalyze the weight of the actual presentation. Something like, hey, I have that political science presentation on Friday. If I don't get an A on this, this is the end of the world. You're very, very extreme when it comes to overanalyzing the weight of certain situations. I will promise you right now, there's very few presentations that really have that weight. Most of them aren't going to happen until you're well within your professional career. Social comparison. This is another one, comparing yourself to someone else. Well, Grace is a fantastic public speaker, and honestly, I don't feel like I'm up to par to her, so maybe I shouldn't be doing this as much. That's absolutely insanity, of course. And then lack of preparation, the fear of not showing up or not knowing what to do, which you all mentioned as well. So these are the most common fears when it comes to presentations and public speaking. But what's really crazy about that, if you really look at all of these, 99% of this is mental. This is all in your head. So overcoming your fears. I know it's very easy. You probably hear it all the time where someone says, get over it. You're afraid of it, just get over it. That's not something that's going to happen. So this is something that's going to take a little bit of work. Again, when I was your age, this was my number one fear. Now you can't get me to stop talking. But the barriers are all in your mind. When it comes to that fear of being judged or being self-conscious, really hate to say this, but no one really thinks about you as much as you. So you're worried about what other people are thinking about you. In all honesty, in the other person's mind, they're probably thinking about themselves. So don't overthink it. Don't think about everyone constantly judging you because they're probably not. Perfectionism, again, this is the area that I struggle with. No one is perfect. No presentation is perfect. You're not going to get that perfect public speaking opportunity. And that's the best part about presentations and public speaking is it's an imperfect art. No two presentations are going to be the same. You can't really take a presentation and say you need to do everything exactly the same as that one because the next time you do that presentation, it's going to be to different people. So you have to do it differently. So it's an imperfect art. Um, the perceived vulnerability, that fear that you're vulnerable with a lot of people staring at you. I mean, that's a part of growth, stepping outside of your comfort zone to feel a little bit vulnerable because the next time you do it, you're not going to feel as vulnerable as you did before. Past experiences, like I mentioned before, everyone's worried about themselves. No one remembers that bad experience but you. I recently talked to the Commandant about a year and a half ago. He doesn't even remember that I actually presented to him. It happens. What you have going on in your mind is most likely not happening in the other person's mind. The lack of experience. Guess what? You're in high school. You don't have that experience yet. We're going to work on it though. So the more experience that you get, the more you're going to understand what you need to do. I know it's an old saying that you've probably heard a million times, but practice does make perfect when it comes to presentations. And then performance pressure. Understand the moment. Understand where you are. That presentation, yes, if you don't get an A, it's not going to be the end of the world. There's always going to be another ways for you to improve yourself. So understand the moment, take the pressure off your shoulders, and just experience your public speaking experience. Social comparison, yes, comparison is the theft of joy. Stop comparing yourself to other people because you are very different than everyone else. You're not going to do things the exact same way. What one person is going to be excellent at, another person is not. So don't compare yourself, just work on improving yourself. And then lack of preparation. It comes with the experience, but work with people who you know, with people like potential mentors. Hi, I'm here to help you. I want to help with any presentation that you have. I will help you prepare because, again, this is something that is very important. When you have those people to lean on, you have those people who are willing to help you to prepare so you don't have those issues and those mistakes. I am very big on making sure that those that I work with feel prepared, have every step of the way already mapped out. And in fact, I usually try to be there to support them so you don't have to have that horrible experience that I had. All right. So moving on to how to effectively present. So there's four key things that you need to work on in order to be an effective presenter. So when you have that opportunity to present, it starts with planning. It goes to preparation, to practice, and then to actually presenting. So starting with planning. First, you need to understand exactly what your presentation is for. Like I mentioned before, no two presentations are going to be exactly the same because they're always going to be for someone different. So understanding who your audience is before you do that presentation. Right now, I get to be a little bit more laid back. I get to have a little bit more fun because I'm hanging out with you all. I'm presenting to you all. You're high school students. If I were to come in very, very formal, you guys would probably fall asleep within 10 minutes. So adapting to who the audience is. I definitely did a typo on that. It's supposed to be why are they there, not what are they there. So why are they there? What are you presenting to them? What is the reasoning behind the entire presentation? What is your overall goal? What do you hope to achieve from this presentation? How long should it take? I'll be very honest with you. Always try to keep presentations on the shorter end. Attention spans are very, very low. But also, where will it take place? Is it going to be on Zoom? Is it going to be in person? Do I need to travel to their location? Do I need to account for that as well? So always making sure that you have a solid plan before you go in. That's what's going to make sure, like Grace said, the fear of messing up. This is step one in making sure that you do not mess up. So then from there, we go to preparation. Understanding your goal is number one. Perfect example for this. Actually, we've been doing a lot of presentations at Ulman Foundation throughout the years. Right now, we're in the heart of our capital campaign. So understanding that our goal is to raise X amount of funds because we are expanding to another building right next door to us. We're looking to add more rooms. So a lot of times we're doing these presentations for corporate support and saying, hey, our goal is to help and support more people than we could before because there's absolutely a need to help and support young adults in the community right now, and we can't do it without the community's help. Putting together visual aids. I love PowerPoints. PowerPoints are fantastic. I will add a very strong caveat to this as well, though. One big issue that I do see a lot of times, I'm sure a lot of you have seen it as well, is when people tend to read word for word exactly what is on their presentation. Or the people who sit there and they read from a piece of paper. I'm sure, I mean, thumbs up, raise your hand. Have you been in a presentation where someone has sat there with a piece of paper in front of their face like this? I don't even know if you can hear me right now. But the whole presentation, you're like, what is going on? Has anyone had that before? Okay, cool. I see a couple thumbs up. Yeah, it happens. And it's really boring. I guarantee you probably lost interest about 5 minutes in. So don't lean on your aids, but aids are always great. Personal appearance. This is also very important. Take your presentation seriously. If you walk up in sweatshirt and sweatpants, people are gonna be like, "Did you just roll out of bed?" Oh, Grace, by the way, great response. I don't remember because I fell asleep. That is really funny. But yeah, but personal appearance, make sure you're dressed for the people that you are presenting to. Again, presenting to high schoolers, the likelihood of me showing up in a full suit, not very likely, because again, you guys would be like, this is very out of place. But I'll be a little bit more casual because it's a little bit more approachable. Whether if you're going to speak or present to a corporate sponsor or a business, yeah, you probably want to dress up a little bit more because that's the expectation that they have. And also find your voice. Figure out exactly how you want to present this. Do you want this presentation to be impactful? Do you want it to be kind of an angry speech? Do you want it to be something where you're trying to persuade them to your cause? Understand the voice that you're trying to present and make sure you do stick with that voice. And then we go to practice. Again, we said it before, this is the lack of preparation. Practice makes perfect. And I just said it a minute ago. Don't look at your slides or index cards. It is a massive pet peeve of mine. And like Grace said, that is the fastest way to get people to fall asleep. The reason that that is because if you're reading from this, people don't believe that you put in the time or the effort or that you believe in this. So if I sat there again and read from this slide, and you guys would probably say, does he actually know what he's talking about, or did he just do some research and now he's reading off the slides? Understand what you're talking about. Don't look at the slides. Don't read index cards. Don't read a piece of paper. Have a general understanding of what the next slide is going to say and have that information in your head. The more knowledgeable you are, the easier this is going to be. And experiment. Have fun with your presentation. Do your practice, run through it, find ways to spruce it up. Say, hey, you know what? I don't like the order of these slides. I'm going to go ahead and switch these up because it sounds a little bit better. Then run through it again. Did it actually sound better? Again, finding your voice. Is this something that maybe I should sound a little bit more aggressive here? Figure out exactly what you want to convey and experiment with it. Check your facial expressions. This is something that, yeah, it's actually really funny when you have that presentation, that person is making the funniest facial expressions you have ever seen. When it comes to Zoom, Google Meets, whatever you're using, FaceTime, that makes it a lot easier because honestly, I only look at myself on these to make sure I'm not making a really weird face. But always make sure you check your face. Don't look really, really angry while you're doing it. Are going to think like maybe they really don't want to be here right now. Um, Throw that smile on there. Everyone loves to see that smile. But check your facial expressions. Make sure you are showing what you're trying to convey. Practice for your family. This is one I'm very, very big on. I understand it's weird to do a presentation for your parents. I get that. But think about it this way. After you finish that presentation, who's going to give you the most honest feedback? It's going to be your parents because your parents want you to succeed. Uh, I understand your parents are probably busy, but these presentations, again, are usually a little bit shorter, 10, 15, 20 minutes. They have that time while they're cooking dinner. You can stand there and do that presentation for them and say, hey, what do you think? What should I be working on? These are the best people to go to because they're going to be brutally, brutally honest. You can definitely work with me on it. I will try to be as honest as possible, but a little heads up. I like you all and I want you all to like me, so I may not be as brutally honest as your parents will, but I do still want you to succeed. But yeah, more than happy to help you. Always try to work with your parents first. But also record yourself. Again, I know it's weird to watch a video of yourself, but this is the best way to make sure one, like you're conveying the correct voice, the experimenting that you did, making sure it actually worked. Checking your facial expressions, everything that we talked about before. This is the best way to double check and make sure that you're doing it correctly. All right, and going into actually presenting, be confident. Understanding what you're talking about, having a good, strong knowledge of the topic that you're presenting on is going to help you be confident. I can confidently answer most questions you will have about Ulman Foundation at this point, and I feel very, very confident about that. If there isn't a question that I can answer, guess what? I'm going to find it out for you. Next time someone asks me, I'm going to have that answer. But be confident about what you're talking about. Have that knowledge so that way when you are presenting to it, everyone's going to feel compelled with what you're talking about. Start strong. I know once you first really get going, it's weird at first. Again, this is not something that's normal, doing presentations in front of a lot of people, but starting off strong will help you finish off strong. Getting past that initial bump, that initial fear, that's what's really, really going to help you move on throughout the rest of your presentation. Make eye contact. Again, I hate slides. When you read them, I hate index cards and I hate pieces of paper. They drive me nuts. Unless you have a massive script, there's really nothing you should be looking at. Make eye contact with the people you're talking to. For the next one, also add a smile. So make eye contact, add a smile because that's when those people are going to be a lot more comfortable with you and they're far more likely to one, like you, and two, listen to you. And then when you do that presentation, always make sure you close with a strong ask. This is the whole point of your presentation, whether you are asking for support, whether you're doing a presentation to get into college or to earn that scholarship. You always have to close with a strong ask or you're not going to get what you want. Um, Perfect for us would be, hey, I would love M&T Bank to donate $15,000 to the Ulman Foundation to help support young adults with cancer and their families because I can go on for a long time about all the details about why they need to do it, but this is the reasons why you should be doing it. And here's the examples of why you should do that as well. If you're able to accurately map that out, they're going to be like, wow, I'm really blown away that you did that. You did the research onto M&T Bank about what we believe in and our values. So now I'm far more compelled to, again, really understand what you're asking for, but you're only going to get what you ask for. So always finish strong, have a very strong ask at the end. Otherwise, you're not going to get what the whole presentation was for. All right. And now we're going to talk about putting it all into practice. So before I do this, actually, does anyone have any questions? Are you all feeling more confident with your presentations? I see some thumbs up. Okay. I'll take that. All right. So, as I mentioned before, something that's very, very important, practice makes perfect. I've worked, some of you I do know from the past and have worked with me with this on the past, understand how important sponsorship, public presentations, being able to do a professional presentation in a professional setting. This is a very, very unique experience that not a lot of people your age get to actually experience until they're well into their college career or in their professional career. Like I mentioned, my first presentation opportunity was when I was at the Naval Academy. That was my senior year of college. I've done presentations in front of thousands of people prior, but I've never done a professional presentation. So there's a major, major difference between the two because it's a lot more intimate. There's going to be about 3 or 4 people that you're working with instead of 1,000 people that you can't really see their faces. You can't really distinct between the two. So I wanted to give all of you that opportunity to, one, help boost your points for this program, help boost yourself and develop yourself when it comes to public speaking. So we want to work on putting these public presentation opportunities into practice. So we are going to challenge all of you to start helping Ulman and connecting us with potential sponsors. We have a lot of opportunities coming up, including sponsoring the So Do We program. So sponsors play a massive part when it comes to helping Ulman support young adults and their families with cancer. And this is an opportunity where you are going to get to be able to take the lead. So we want to work with you. We're not going to leave you hanging and say, hey, go start working on sponsorship presentations. Let me know how it goes. Because again, as a lot of you mentioned before, you have those fears associated with presentations. So I want to work with you. So I want to be able to work with you and give you the templates and the skills that you need in order to be successful. Basically, I want to make this process a no-brainer where all you have to worry about is you don't have to worry about making the presentation. You don't have to worry about practicing with the presentation because we're going to do that with you. All you have to focus on is doing that first presentation. And of course, Ulman staff, if you're able to get a presentation, would be with you the entire step. So companies have that opportunity to not only sponsor Ulman, but also offer in-kind donations. Now, what an in-kind donation is, instead of donating funds, businesses can donate services to help support us. Some of these services could include DJ at some of our events. So we have a very close friend of mine, some of you may know, DJ Tim Nice. He's going to be helping us out with a couple events in our future. He's offering his services to us for free, and in return, he gets to write off what he's doing on his taxes. This is something that's very important because something that you all may or may not know. Actually, raise your hand if you did know this. Did you all know that every single company has to donate to a nonprofit? Just the thumbs up works for that. No, you didn't know that. Well, now you learned something else today. Yes, every company has to donate to a nonprofit. Otherwise, they pay more in taxes. This is the number one tax write-off that basically every company is going to do. So everyone understands that they have to donate funds to a nonprofit. If they don't, they pay more. And who wants to give more to the government? People would much rather give more to a charity where they're supporting people within their own community versus having to pay more in taxes. So with that understanding, it makes this process a lot easier. So we want to make sure that that again they have those opportunity for sponsorships for those in kinds. They can write these off on their tax write-offs. But also we're looking for auction items. We have our Blue Jeans bow tie event, our big gala at the end of the coming up in a couple of months, about 5 or 6 months. Um, we're always looking for auction items for events like that as well. Things that we can auction off and return, those funds will come to Ulman. And when we do that, whatever the actual market value of that item is what the donors will actually receive. So it doesn't matter how much the item actually goes for. If someone donates a Tom Brady autographed football helmet, well, that's valued at $500. Well, it might sell for $300. Well, guess what? You're still going to get that tax write-off for $500. So this is a great opportunity for a lot of businesses to be able to get involved, not only with you all, but also with Ulman. All right, so we're going to do a quick brainstorm for about 5 minutes. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of time, but you'll be very surprised about who you would know in 5 minutes. So for the next couple of minutes, what I want you to do, everyone that's on here, I want you to write down 5 companies that your family works for, your parents, your aunts, your uncles, cousins, third cousins, second cousins, whoever you know. 5 companies that work with your family, whether it's an HVAC company, a landscaping, roofing, paving, sealing, an accountant, a lawyer, a realtor. If you have um, a tire shop that you use or a mechanic that you often use, a place that a restaurant that you frequent a lot. These are great companies for you to write down. And then 5 companies that you see every day. You pass them on the way to school every single day. So I'm going to just a couple of minutes, so another 2 to 3 minutes, just to have you guys start writing all of these down, just so we can start really thinking of some ideas for potential outreach. And if you're willing to share any of your companies just to give other people some ideas, please let us know. All right, we'll give it another few seconds. All right, does anyone want to share any of the companies that pop into mind that you might want to talk or introduce Ullman to? PNC is great. Yeah, they're great within, if you know someone within PNC, these are absolutely fantastic. Banks are always great to talk to. We work a lot with M&T as well. Any other thoughts? Anyone have an HVAC company that they use or a roofing? I love roofing companies. They're fantastic. Oh, right. All right. So I'm going to challenge all of you. Very, very easy challenge. This is something that I want you to do not only for this challenge, but also for yourselves. I want you to start opening your eyes to what's around you. Something that I've seen a lot, and I guarantee all of you are guilty of this. About 90% of the time, the moment that you all get into the car, after you put on your seatbelt, the first thing that you do is you get on your phone. And then you tend to be on your phone for the entire car ride, so you're not very aware of what's going on around you. So, a very easy challenge that I'm going to give to all of you, I'm going to give it to everyone within the So Do We program. Every time you get into the car, you don't even have to get off your phone. You can go to the notes section of your phone. I just want you to write down 5 different businesses that you see along the way. This is going to start opening you up to more opportunities, more people that you may or may not know. And in fact, I'm going to add a second challenge to that. I don't know why I didn't put this on there because I think it's a great idea. How many of you, just a quick thumbs up, how many of you have seen those yard signs in front of your neighbors' houses? Not the political ones, the business ones. Crosby, I see a thumbs up. Awesome. Yeah. So these are businesses that are already in your neighborhood. Little fun fact about those businesses that are already in your neighborhood, they want to stay in your neighborhood. So when individuals like you reach out to them and say, "Hey, will you support me?" They're far more likely to do it because they understand that if they support you, you're going to say how great of a company they are for supporting you. Now, more people are likely in their neighborhood are more likely to use them because of how they supported you. So those are great ones. So at some point, I know it's very cold out right now. Take a walk around your neighborhood. If you see one of those yard signs, write down that information. These are going to be some great people to potentially reach out to. All right, so I do have a handful of rules when it comes to sponsorship, and these are some things that are very, very important. The number one rule when it comes to sponsorship, because you all already mentioned that you have that fear when it comes to presentations, but the number one rule is to always ask. If you think about a company that could potentially might want to pair with Ulman, whether you think they will or not, you think that would be a good match, ask them, talk to them. You're not a mind reader. I've kind of been testing you all throughout this entire presentation to see if any of you could actually read my mind, and none of you did. So none of you are mind readers, so don't pretend to be a mind reader. Don't make a decision for someone before actually asking. If you go to someone and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm not going to even ask them because they're not going to help support me." Well, now they're not because you've already made the decision for them. Don't make a decision for someone else. You'll be very, very surprised who would want to help and support you because you'll be surprised about who's actually been connected and affected by cancer. All right, rule number 2 is to always ask big. You're only going to get what you ask for. If you think you're going to only get $500, ask for 1,000. If you think you're going to get 1,000, ask for 2,000. Because you're not a mind reader. You can't really determine exactly what you think they're going to donate or to contribute unless you ask. I've had it time and time again where someone has said, "You know what? I only planned on asking for, or I only planned on giving $5,000. But since you asked for 10, honestly, that doesn't sound like an issue. Let's go for it." Or the worst one, I've actually had this happen a couple of years ago, and it still haunts me to this day, where we had someone interacting with a local car dealership. By the way, car dealerships, fantastic to talk to. Um, and they went and presented and they asked them for $5,000. Well, I talked to them at the end of the year and I said, "Well, how did we do? What can we improve on?" And they said, "You know what? I had $10,000 set aside for this year. I was very, very excited for it. And I was really confused because they only donated five." So I asked them about it. They said, "Yeah, we set aside $10,000, but when the student talked to us and presented to us, they only asked for five. So that's all that we gave them." So you're only going to get what you ask for. So if you're not asking big, if you're not asking for more than what you want, you're not going to get it. Most likely, if you ask for more than what you want, you're still very, very likely to at least get what you wanted to begin with. Always follow up. Following up is extremely, extremely important. When you send that first email, the likelihood of anyone responding to that first email is very, very slim. I personally get hundreds of emails a day just through my work email. And my personal email, it's another couple of hundred every single day. I don't have the physical time to read those. I just glance through them. If it looks like spam, it gets deleted. I'm not going to waste my time on that. So you really need to understand that sometimes this happens. Sometimes your message will go to spam. Sometimes maybe the title that you put on it is just a little bit weird. So they think it is spam. So they're just going to delete it. So, in all honesty, it will take up to 5 to 7 times, 5 to 7 touch points with an individual before you actually get a response. And the reason for that is very simple. A lot of companies, a lot of individuals get a lot of emails. Not only do those go to spam, but they get a lot of asks for stuff like this as well. So when you consistently reach out and consistently follow up, that's when they start taking you seriously. Another organization that we worked with, I can't give you guys the name, sorry. But they were very specific and they said, I will not take anyone seriously until they contact me at least 3 times. If you're not contacting me 3 times, then I don't believe that you're taking what you're doing seriously. Most people, specifically high schoolers, will only ask once. In fact, I know a bunch of adults who will only ask twice. It's going to take at least 3 times, but most likely it's going to take upwards of 5 to 7 touch points just to get a response. You're not bugging them. A lot of people, their job is to actually look through these emails. So you're literally having them do their job. You are not bugging them by sending them these emails. Show them that you're taking what you're doing seriously. And always connect. There's a very important line that I always want you to do afterwards. Whenever you talk to an organization, if you're making an ask, it's very important that you always ask, is there anyone else you know who might be interested in hearing my presentation? Because you don't know who they might know. Always going one step further, not only who you know, but who they know and who they might know. Another example of this is I had a former student who did a presentation to the company that they worked for out in the Eastern Shore. Now, the company was one of the ferries that goes across the water. This was right after COVID. So, unfortunately, that organization just really could not donate because they were financially very hurting because no one was using them during COVID. So, the student asked afterwards, she said, I completely understand, but is there anyone you might know who might be interested in hearing my presentation? Well, the ferry worker said, you know what? We're actually a part of the local chamber of commerce. They're doing some presentations for local nonprofits in the next couple of weeks. We would love for you to come and present. Once they were done presenting there, they ended up giving 7 sponsorships, 7 individual donations from those companies that otherwise they would have not had access to unless they asked that question. So always ask for one step more because you'll be very surprised who you might actually be connected with. All right. So for next steps, what I would love for you all to work on, and I will send out an email tomorrow, either tomorrow or Friday, with all the information. This is going to have all of our rankings, as well as where all of us stand for our goal of reaching $10,000 by the end of the year. So be on the lookout for that, but keep adding names to your list. Those 5 names, the list of the individual 5 names that I asked you to look for, keep adding on to that every single day. Try to add more names onto that. And I will be providing email templates tomorrow for you to start getting that outreach. Again, I'm going to make this as easy as possible. I'm going to put the templates together. If you get a presentation, I will have a presentation for you. I will prepare with you on that presentation, and we're going to find ways to really support you throughout the entire process. So if this is something that, again, I really hope all of you want to take this opportunity because, again, if your family has a business, if you know a local business that would like to get involved with this, this is a great opportunity to help improve yourself, but also support Ulman and also really, really boost your team points. Because we have, I think, two of our top 5 teams are on here right now. So yeah, the points really, really matter, and this is a great way to do it. In fact, maybe I'll do a sponsorship incentive with extra points for that as well. Yeah, I think that'd be fun. So use those templates that I provide. Start getting outreach and make sure you are CCing me on any of those emails for that outreach. The main reason I don't want to steal your contacts or anything like that, but as I mentioned before, I have a pretty good understanding of Ullman and I feel pretty confident that I could answer most questions. However, I don't you haven't had the time to learn it yet. So there's going to be a lot of questions that maybe you may not be able to answer, but I may. So if I'm already CC'd on those emails, I can help answer those questions without you having to ask me for it. So it'll be a lot quicker. Um, Try to secure a meeting. Try to secure a meeting with the company that you know. Again, someone that you know within the company say, hey, the email will say, hey, I'm doing the Soda We program to help support young adults within the cancer community. I would love your support. Do you have time to connect? Do you have time to meet within the next week or so? We'll start setting times for it. During that meeting, we'll have an entire presentation going, hey, this is who I am. This is who Ulman is. This is what I'm doing. And this is how you can support me. It's very, very easy. It's very fun as well because you'll be if you're competitive like me, you'll be very excited to try to see how much you can actually earn. But myself, as well as Jesse, our Chief Development Officer, Maddie, our development coordinator, anyone within our development team, anyone within Ulman, we want to help and support you throughout this entire process. That's what we're here for. We want to make sure that you're comfortable through this. When you have those insecurities, those anxieties, we want you to feel comfortable with just sending us a message saying, hey, I don't know what I should be doing, or how can I get better at this? That's what we're here for. We want to make sure that we're here to support you in any way that you want so that you are successful when it comes to doing things like this. And I really want to encourage you. And yes, I will try to figure out some way, some extra incentives when it comes to sponsors. Which you all will have a head start over anyone else. Make sure you spread the word to your teams. But this is a great way again. I really cannot stress enough the experience of being able to present to a business professional in a business setting. It really will help change the way you think about presenting, and it's going to make it a lot easier for you and really stop stressing you out as much down the road. This is something that's very important. I was an RA in college. I saw the people who would get what we called the freshman freak out. That was when freshmen had to do their first ever presentation. And they no longer had the backing of your high school behind you to make sure you didn't mess up. And so you start freaking out because you don't know exactly what you're supposed to do. That's not going to be you. I want to make sure that is not you, and that is why I'm here. That's why I really want you to do this. We're going to have some great opportunities for sponsorship, whether it's for the Soda We program. I mean, we would love to have a company sponsor this program and help support all of you, help us expand this program a little bit more. We have our Blue Jeans bow tie event. There's tons of opportunities for sponsorship for that. We have a bunch of different events working with our Baltimore Running Festival, helping to sponsor the house, being able to bring in some supplies for the house. There's so many great opportunities for sponsorship, but most people just don't know about it. So we would love to have your help. We would love to help you as well to start spreading the word to these companies to make sure they understand that we are an option, and that we would absolutely appreciate their help. All right. Does anyone have any questions? I know I talked a lot. All right, everyone feeling good? Anyone planning on starting to put a list together and reaching out to companies? Oh, I knew Crosby was going to do a thumbs up. Anyone else? Is Boys Latin going to carry this? Okay, there's Grace in Poolsville. All right. All right, so Boys Latin, Poolsville. Perfect. So we're going to start spreading the word about this. We're going to start letting companies in our area know, again, the smaller, I know a lot of people are going to start thinking about these big, big companies, and that's fantastic. Usually, what's the first company you all think of when it comes to Maryland? There's always one company that always jumps out. Anyone? Ooh, Old Bay. So that's actually McCormick and Schmitz. We do also work with them. The other one is Under Armour. We work with them as well. So don't worry about reaching out to them. Start looking at some of these small, people tend to neglect the smaller business, the landscapers, the auto shops, the detailers, the paving and sealing, the roofing companies, window companies. How many of you have had a room renovated or painted or a floor replaced in the last couple of years? Yeah. Sophia, absolutely. Most people have, a lot of people have. How many of you have had your car worked on in the last couple of years? If you have a car, your family car, or how many of you have bought a car in the last couple of years? Ooh, none of you had. Okay, Crosby. All right. I knew someone had to have bought a car. Yeah, these are great people to reach out to because, again, since you're already working with them, they want you to keep working with them. So these are great companies for you to start brainstorming and reaching out to. So be on the lookout for the email, whether it's going to be tomorrow or Friday, that will be out. It's going to have all the templates for you to start getting outreach as well. It will have follow-up templates as well that will cover up to, we'll do at least 5 to make sure that you are covered for as many touch points as you need. If you do get a presentation, cool. Talk to me. let me know. We'll get you the presentation. I will write a script of exactly what you're supposed to say. I know I said you're not supposed to read, but we're going to work through it so you're going to have a better understanding of what you're supposed to talk about, so you're not going to have to read. But we're going to be with you every step of the way. But again, we're going to help improve you for your future, for college, for your if you're not going to college, to your professional career and beyond. These are things that are really, really going to help benefit you. These are things that colleges and educators, professionals, organizations, this is what they all look for. They really look for people who are comfortable with things like this, with public speaking, and are willing to go out of their way to do things like this as well. So, I will leave you all with that, and thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Please be in touch. I have been talking with most of you in here, but please be in touch with what's going on with your club. I will be reaching out with more ideas for fundraising. I would love to get some more fundraising ideas out there. Shout out, they're not on tonight, but shout out Archbishop Curley, who just did a ridiculous head shaving event. They had staff members from their school shave their head, shave their beard, including a female staff member, and they ended up raising $3,700 in the process. So there's always these great opportunities out there. Let me know. I love to plan new stuff. We have some great ideas coming up for the end of this year and for next year. So connect with me. We would love to hear what you have going on and how we can help support you. And if you're looking for more ideas, let me know. We have some pretty cool, fun ones. I will also release that in the email as well. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. I really do appreciate it. Thank you all so much for supporting Ulman, supporting young adults and their families who are going through their cancer journey. Check out our Ulman Foundation on Instagram if you haven't yet. We recently shared a very, very heartwarming story that will really motivate you because it's what you all are really working towards. We had an unbelievable house member who recently left. She got to ring the bell at Ulman House. She shared her story about the impact that Ulman had on her, the impact that you all have with Ulman. So definitely check it out. Like our Ulman Foundation page, like some of the recent posts. It helps spread the word. But definitely check out some of those videos. There's some really cool ones. But thank you all so much again. I hope you have a great rest of your night. I hope you have a great week. And we will see you again, same time, same place next week, where we're going to do that makeup education class on the effects of cancer on AYA patients. So definitely check it out. We're going to have our Chief Impact Officer, Kim. She's going to be coming on talking about that as well. So thank you all so much. Have a great night. Thank you again. Have a great rest of your week.